So my worst date experience, okay. So back in the day, I was on Tinder and like I wasn't really ready, but I was like, let's see, right? So then it was like Tinder friends. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Like I'm totally down for a friend, right? He like matched with me right away. And I was like, okay, but does he know his Tinder friends? I'm like, nah, he probably knows his Tinder friends, right? So the guy was like, oh, I'm available now. I was like, all right, you can come over now. Big mistake having him over at my house, okay? But like I'm like, I don't care, I don't have anything to steal, whatever, you come to my house, right? So he told me he was gonna bring his laptop to show me his work. I was like, yeah, cool, we have some conversation. So he has a backpack and it doesn't look like anything's in the backpack. And this will be relative later on in the story. And so we're sitting on the couch, as the time is passing, he like throws out his hand. And I'm like, what? Even though I know he wants me to hold his hand, he's like, hold my hand. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna hold your hand. And he goes, oh, okay, like I don't mean to like make you feel comfortable. I'm like, okay, cool, right? Going on with the night, and he's like, just hold my hand. I'm like, I'm not going to hold your hand. And I should have kicked him out at this point, right? I didn't. We moved on to uh like we have music going, and he goes, oh, I want to show you a dance move. And I was like, yeah, show me what you got, right? And then he did one of those things that like he got too close, and I'm like, I am not okay with that. You have to give me space. Like, okay, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. I'm like, that's another red flag, right? But I'm fucking stupid, right? So then we go on to playing a board game, and in the board game, he's like, "Oh, I feel so good with you already. I feel like embracing you." I was like, "I'm not into that." He's like, "Okay, I don't mean to make you feel uncomfortable." I'm like, "This guy keeps fucking saying that, right?" So at this point, I'm like, "I want this guy out of my house." And he came on the bus, and like, I'm not gonna drive him home. I don't fucking like him, right? So so I was like, "When's your bus come?" He goes, "What?" I'm like, when's your bus come? I know you gotta like plan stuff, right? And he's like, oh, I thought I'd sleep over. And I'm like, what about this whole night made you think you'd sleep over? And like, you have this tiny, like, deflated backpack. Are you even like prepared to sleep over? Is that why you brought a backpack? Like, what is going on? This is fucking crazy. So I was like, no. And he's like, what? I'm like, no, like, you can't sleep over. And he's like, kind of like zoned out right now. And I'm like, so when does your bus come? So he Googles it. He's like, oh, the last bus is in like 5 minutes. I'm like, yeah, you better go then. Oh my God. That was the worst date. Funniest. Left me with a funny story. I'm sure worse things have happened, but that was like number one. Also admitting how stupid I was, but whatever. You live and you learn.